Welcome to Market Buzz. I'm Greg Schnell, the Canadian technician and host of the Market Buzz. Each show we do a deep dive into different industries using weekly charts to see what is happening on a long timeline. Please follow me on Twitter at Schnell Investor, and you can also find my blogs on gregschnell.com as well as StockCharts.com. So I think the big thing I want to cover off today is gold's 6-week pause over. And we've got the Fed meeting this afternoon, so that should really change things up. So our agenda today is all about gold stocks. I want to cover that off in quite detail. If you're interested in any of the work we do at gregschnell.com, you can head over there and check that out. I do have a couple of presentations coming up in the future here. I'll be on Instagram Live. If you go over and follow me there at Schnell Investor, you'll be able to track down the show that I'm doing there. And Toronto Money Show on September the 29th, and the StockCharts TV, the move to electric. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about that right now. So for the move to electric, we're going to do a 1-hour show talking specifically all about the different things going on in the race to electric and some of the issues that are going on, some of the behind the scenes. But we're going to focus on the technical side rather than the fundamental or the news side, and hopefully you'll find some value there. And then, as always, thanks for taking the time to watch the show. I appreciate it. And so let's jump into the charts. So first of all, this is the chart for the bullish percent index. And I need to define what's on this chart, and then we'll go through it. So first of all, up here in the top panel is GLD, the index that, or the ETF that follows the gold price. The bullish percent index keeps track of the number of stocks on a buy signal. And then the GDX is the gold stocks ETF. So this is the price of gold. This is the price of the gold stocks, a bundle of them added together. And then this is the ratio of GDX to GLD. And when everything on this page is above its 50-day moving average, that's pretty bullish. So what we got literally at the beginning of this week was all three of them have pulled back above their 50-day moving average and are trying to hold up there. So that's very positive. The second thing I want to point out, this is quite an interesting graph. So forget about the S&P up here. Let's just talk about the lower panel. These blue lines are the Fed meetings. And the point I want to show, I think it's quite interesting, is you have a huge run in gold and then sideways for a month. And literally when I say sideways, it was like almost door to door stayed at the same level, but went through both higher and lower. And then we came out of that one, pulled back a little bit, support held, and off to the races for the whole month, got up here, and really we've gone sideways for the whole month with almost no movement. So the big question is now, do we break down or do we break out? And I think on the back of the Fed meeting on the Wednesday here, Wednesday, September 16th, we should see some interesting variation. And obviously, if they're going to break out, this is quite bullish. And if they don't, again, they've been paused in this range since the last Fed meeting, pretty much 6 weeks. So we want to just see if they've actually got the ability. Now, when I include the S&P 500 up here at the top, whole different chart. Sometimes down here I'll put the US dollar, I'll put the put call ratio, but it's nice to have the Fed meeting on a chart. And then, so make the chart about the S&P 500, but then you can always change whatever it is, the Canadian dollar. You can go look and see how the Fed meeting affects something that you want to watch. So maybe it's oil, maybe it's bonds, whatever. Anyway, the key to do that is to make the S&P your main panel and then set this up. Because if I change this panel, as an example, if I type in GDX, it's going to take away all my annotations, and that would be the problem. So that's how I do it to try and keep track of it. This isn't a lot of work. I literally Google what's the next Fed meeting. So Fed meeting dates. And to get that, there just happens to be a whole calendar here. And you go in there and you just say, okay, what are the dates that are coming? And so for this year here, we've got the September 15-16 meeting, then November 4th, 5th, then December 15-16. So you can go and mark those on your chart, and at least you've got them ready. So one of the things I like to do is when I roll through this chart regularly, that's probably the best way to define that, every week, that I can at least see when the next Fed meeting is. So I'll go in here, and you just might remember that the election is also right there on November 3rd, and we got the Fed meeting on the 4th. So we got lots cooking right in there. So early November is going to have some heat on it. And we had the same thing last time in 2016. We had the Fed meeting days before the election, and then the election kicked off, and the chart went jumping up. So lots of things to always be aware of, but I like to have these lines here, and then again change the lower panel to get what you want. So now I want to, this is the chart list we're going to go through in a second here, but I want to just go through some of the things I look at gold often, and it's a really tough call here for gold. And again, everything has just moved back above the 50-day moving average. So that's one of the reasons I want to talk about it now. And if it doesn't hold, at least our stops are nice and close and we could get out. If it does hold, we're going to break to the upside and should get a nice run. So this would be called a bull flag, where it runs up and then consolidates sideways, and then we want to obviously see if it can break out to the north side, and that would be nice to watch. So here's the chart of gold. This is dollar gold continuous contract. So this is the actual price of gold. And what we see here is, call it 1950. We closed on the Tuesday at 1982. I like this big uptrend in momentum. I'd like to see that hold. It's not uncommon for it to kind of get up here and then waver a bit, but I think more importantly, what we want to watch for is just, I don't want to see the momentum really start to slide hard. And so right now gold is wobbling a bit. We can see on the full stochastic it's out of the top price range, and again, the full stochastic looks back 14 weeks, so real rough 3 months, right? So that's about back here. And you can see that from 1700 to 2100 is our price range, and gold is sitting at 1950, so it's about 2/3 of the range, and that's exactly what that's trying to tell you. So bull markets, what you find is things stay above the 50% level and typically hold up quite well. In bear markets, they live on the bottom half. And so, so far we're still in a very bullish place, even if we pull back to the 50% level. I don't think we want to see it drop down another $150, but that could happen. And anyway, the whole idea behind the full stochastic is just to help you get a feel for where things are. And obviously when they're accelerating up and out of a price range, that's really good. Up here at the top, I have the S&P 500 compared to gold, or gold compared to the S&P 500. And so you want this to be trending up. And one of the concerns we had recently, 6 weeks ago, is we got a bit of a sell signal there where gold stopped outperforming the S&P 500. And it hasn't done anything since. It's just wandered sideways. So we don't have any real momentum one way or the other. All that to say, the chart's in an uptrend. The momentum is still trending up, albeit it's been relaxing for the last 6 weeks, and it just crossed its signal line, so that's a bearish thing. But we're still above the 10-week moving average, and that's been holding very, very well. And we also have everything moving above all the other related things, gold miners index, the gold miners themselves, all moving above the 10-week moving average. Okay, so that's this chart. So the next chart that we cover off here is just on a daily basis. And what we can see is gold tried to break through this lower level, hasn't been able to do anything. Going sideways for 6 weeks. It was up yesterday and up again today. So up again on Tuesday, so that's good. And then what we see here is we're basing on the PPO, and last time we based down here, this was a nice place to help get long. It didn't move up quickly, but we want to see this start to try and improve. So that's a worthy objective. And again, the Fed met right around the end of September, and you can see we had a bit of a thrust, a big pullback, and gone sideways for the majority of the time. On the really big picture, gold recently broke out above this 1923 level. We're currently sitting up nice and high at 1966. So these are important levels for us to be aware of. One of the things I want to focus on is, we don't want to see this big uptrend break in gold. And I think I would just ignore the COVID because there's such a good trend line here. So we want to make sure that holds up, and if that's going to start to change, that would be one of the clues for me. So with all of that, I think we're still, everything looks moderately positive. I would just say that we have been in the state of flux for a while, for 5 weeks now, and haven't got any real good signals to go on. The SCTR ranking is sitting right at 50%. And again, what you'll notice back here when it was just wandering sideways is it stayed below 75 and for the most part was below 50. Then when the mood changed, it's been staying for the most part above 50. A few brief dips below that, but it's been in a bull market for 2 years. Now the question is that bull market over? And if it is, we want to be ready. So let's just say that things start to break down from here. Then we want to have our stop set nice and tight and let this fall without us. If it's going to start to break back up again, this is the place we'd like to see it do that. And that would be a nice bullish thrust. We have had declining volume in a big way as gold has been building this flag here. So the real question is, are we running out of buyers, or are the sellers just not willing to sell at lower levels and we're about to turn higher? Moving over to the miners have trended, I'll call it, with less descending tops than we saw on the gold chart. And the idea here is we want to see this hold. Now we just jumped to new 4-week highs on the miners this week, and now what we want to see is getting back up above this 45 level and start to push on to the top side of the range. We did get a sell signal a couple of weeks ago, but again, we've had these touches and then basically the market turns higher. So in the case of the gold miners, still very positive, up in the 90s, not like gold where it's back in the 50% range. So to see the gold miners outperforming so much is quite bullish, and we want to watch that continue. Okay, a couple more charts here. So here is the gold miners compared to the price of gold, and what we see is a big general uptrend. But again, for the last few weeks or months here, it's just been trending sideways. We haven't really made any progress since the middle of July. Looking at momentum, we've got lower peaks and now we're just starting to turn up, and this is the price action over here, momentum starting to swing higher. And this is gold relative to the gold miners. This is not, or sorry, the gold miners relative to gold. This is not just the gold miners. So this is the momentum of gold, the gold miners outperforming gold. We want to see this improve again, and we'd like to see a big run up, and if this can start to kick up, that's quite bullish. And what we see over here in the zoom panel is it's done that before, and it looks like we're ready to start running higher here, so that would be nice. Gold has recently broken through this downtrend if you just use closing prices and get rid of the intraday bars, and for the gold miners, we're sticking very close to new 1-month highs. Looking at GDX, this chart makes me think a little bit more. This chart has the gold miners on it in this area here. That's the black price action. And then here it's the relative strength of the miners compared to the S&P 500, and they've been outperforming. Up at the top is the ratio of gold miners to the price of gold, and that's been trending up. So this is trending up. Briefly, you can see over here in the zoom panel, trying to trend up, and the PPO looks like it's trying to turn up right at 0. We got a positive cross, and the histogram went positive on Monday, so we're starting to turn higher again. All looking very good. Now if this wants to do one of these where it just basically comes up and then rolls over, that's a big problem for us. So I want to pay particular attention right here right now for gold. If it's going to start to break out, this would be the point to get on board, and if it's going to start to roll over, want to be aware that that's a pretty painful place to keep holding. Okay, just zooming way out, looking at the price of gold compared to the S&P 500, they're trending higher. So gold continues to outperform in the big picture. That trend line in terms of momentum is sitting right on the momentum trend. I think if that started to break and go below 0, that is not a good look. And over here we could see that while gold was underperforming for a couple of years, then there was no interest there. We want to see this momentum hold above 0 and keep going. So we're right at the decision point again. So lots of reasons to look at gold this week. Moving on to silver. Silver's been pretty bullish. This looks like a bull flag by anybody's look, so you can imagine this is the flagpole, this is the flag out here, and now what we'd expect is an equal move back up to the upside, including so from here with roughly the same sort of move. That would be pretty big, and obviously getting silver from 19 to 29, call it $10, and now we'd go from 27 to 37. That would be a very big move. We do have the momentum way up high and looking like it wants to roll over, but so far we've just consolidated sideways. On the daily chart, even after we got to the end of this pennant, looked like we were going to get lots of information, broke out, came right back down to it, and is holding right at the apex point for 2 weeks, so no real trend decision one way or the other. That was silver. This is the silver ETF. I'm just going to go. This is the silver miners. And obviously a lot of the people who produce gold produce silver, so the charts might look similar. But what we see is this big run up, a consolidation, and now what we'd like to watch for is another run up. And if we can get that, that's very bullish. We're trying to take out the prior highs on this silver miners index. Okay, so that covers off everything around gold and the indexes and the ETFs that track them. Let's get into the gold stocks, and I want to quickly, I see these numbers at the beginning. They were a way of ranking the stocks before, but I want to rank them based on their current scooter ranking. So what I'm going to do is go into edit list, and I just had to show a friend how to do this again the other day, so I obviously haven't done it enough if people are still wondering how to do it. So select all. Go over here, hit the remove numbers button, and we're going to get rid of them all. Say OK, and then we want to go back and we want to go into summary mode, and the reason we go to summary mode is so we have a way to select, and we want to select on the SCTR ranking, and whatever we could have picked, intraday or 1 month or whatever, it doesn't really matter, but we're still going to select on the SCTR ranking. Well, we are. There we go. So as you see, this is declining, and we have lots of gold stocks that are still some of the top performers. So with that sort of a solid background, that's pretty good. Now, how do we put these numbers back on the front of these? And we just scroll down to the very bottom and hit number in sorted order, and it says, is that what you want to do? We say yes. And now it's put the numbers out in front there. So now what we can do is go into these charts and just look and see what's going on. So here's some silver ETF, and it's basically just, you can see the pennant pattern. I want to see it stay above this green Keltner channel that I've built, and PPO is trying to bounce right off zero, so this is very timely. Looks similar to back here, and we'd like to obviously see that next run continue. I'm going to go into view all mode, and I've got a couple of other indicators here. This is like a 5100 MACD, and this is a longer term MACD, and I'm just showing the histogram. This has just gone barely negative, which isn't that positive. I want to see it stay on the positive side, so it'd be great if it could start to turn up right away here. Okay. And this is the SVLP, another silver miners ETF, and you can just see trending up and to the right. And then Aura Minerals, this is a Canadian stock, and it's just holding up here. It does very light volume, so I'm really cautious to talk about this one. Here's GDXJ, the junior gold miners ETF, and it's holding up. Taseko Mines, beautiful chart, just keeps rising up and to the right. Looks very, very good, and you can see these histograms just show a very positive story. So this is a really nice, simple looking stock. Silver miners ETF again, physical shares. So when I sort in the gold, I get all of these anyway. So just more of these. I'm just going to skip over the ones that are silver funds, and silver, enough of these. Gold miners ETF, GDX. So we can just see really consolidating sideways, but staying above my Keltner channel, and that's one of the reasons we're covering this off today. If it's going to start to break down, this would be the area. So Goldfields International broke out to new highs yesterday and is trying to hold them. Capstone Mining has been climbing nicely. This one's got a bit of copper in it. Midas Gold Corp has been drifting down, still above the the Keltner channels, but obviously weakening much more than a lot of the other names. Global Gold Miners ETF, so this is not just the GDX, but global, and Ring is holding up nicely, trying to break out again to 1 month highs. Fortuna Silver Mines, very nice looking chart. Again, this Keltner channel holding, and if it could break out to the upside, that would be very, very bullish. Sabina Silver, you can see very nicely trending higher. Lots of good things going on the chart, nothing to really panic about. Almaden Minerals, this one just broke out to new highs. I'm going to leave that one. And looking in on, this is a Canadian company, gold mining, just holding up here. Everything's fine. Sylvania Gold, this one, all of these Keltner channels look good on these. And again, we've ranked them from strongest to least strongest. Tower Hill Mine, pulling back, trying to hold on this 100-day moving average. So that would be nice to see. And this is trying to turn up here right at my Keltner band, so starting to work higher. I do have some U.S. names in here. I'm not sure. They must have obviously scooted down a little bit on the ranking with the scooter. So here we have New Gold, and I'd like to see it break this downtrend in momentum of lower highs. Want to see this revert and turn higher right away. Maya Gold and Silver, this one has a nice pop today, trying to get up and over. Silver shares, covered call ETF. Silvercorp Metals, this has been a nice climber, but for the last 2 months has done nothing. It's just been dead money, wobbling quite a bit. Still holding above the Keltner channel, so that looks bullish. Endeavour Silver, this one's trying to break through this new 6-week high. That would be helpful. Pan American Silver, again, moving back above this Keltner channel, a little bit weak on Tuesday. And then Great Panther Resources trying to break through, again, another slightly down day on the Tuesday after an up day Monday. Just holding sideways, I'd say, trying to get the PPO to curl back up again, so that's bullish. Want to see that follow through. Teranga Gold, this is at 6-week highs, trying to get going. Premier Gold Mines, this did break out of that 6-week pattern, and that's what I'm hoping we start to see across the board here. And we have the Fed meeting Wednesday. We have options expiration on Friday. That can also add some volatility, so we'll need to keep watching these. And then Argonaut Gold, this one, again, sideways for 3 months. So it'd be nice to finally see these start to get going. This was a pullback to the bottom of the Keltner channels, PPO right at 0. I like it when it gets there. I don't mind that. I just want to see it refresh and go higher. New Gold, again, up in the top right-hand corner, a lot of these charts, so they look okay. Corvus Gold hasn't made a decision one way or the other. I think that's fair to say. It's been 2 months just straight sideways, PPO right at 0 and trying to turn up. Want to see that finish the work there. Vista Gold Corp, big push up to start the day and then pull back later in the day. So lots of questions as to whether or not the market is positive or about to break down on the back of this Fed meeting. So we got lots of volatility set up for it. Rocks Gold, this one starting to break out to higher highs here, quite nice, and finished up strongly on the day. PPO had curled up and it was breaking this big downward momentum trend. So very nice there. Can't believe I haven't seen any US ticker symbols in here yet. Here's a BTG. This is a US ticker, and this one briefly breaking out above to 1 month highs, so that's bullish. PPO trying to bounce off 0, very nice. Rubicon Minerals, nothing for 4 months. We'll just leave that one flat. Agnico Eagle, here we go. This one breaking out yesterday, or breaking out on Monday, and trying to reverse course on Tuesday. PPO trying to turn higher here, so that's a good look. Want to see that finish and keep going. Dundee Precious Metals, Canadian ticker, pushing up to new 1 month highs and then giving a little bit of it back on Tuesday afternoon. Mag Silver, same thing, breaking out to 1 month highs. iShares for silver bullion, just consolidating in this wedge pattern or pennant pattern. Like to see that finish up and go higher. Kinross Gold started to break out on the morning. of Tuesday morning and pulled back and closed down slightly, but still higher, and still higher than the prior day. So that's okay. Coeur d'Alene Mines, again, just consolidating, want to see that start to push up. And Silvercrest Metals, again, you're getting the theme that all of these are starting to go. Now here we're starting to see the PPO dip below zero, and that's one of the things we want to watch for. We don't want to see this momentum get too weak here. So this is an interesting place on the chart. If it rolled over right now, I'd be out. If it could keep going, that's an okay place to get involved. I'd like to see this all of a sudden start to go positive like this back here. And then American Silver Corp passed. This one broke out to a new 1 month high and then pulled back inside the range again. And all these silver trusts. Seabridge Gold, again, trying to break out to new highs. They're all very, very close, so hopefully they can get this job done here. Agnico Eagle, this is the Canadian ticker, broke out to new highs and then pulled back a little bit. Again, all this happening just before the Fed meeting. And here's Alistair Gold Corp, and we can see that this is starting to break out. Royal Canadian Mint, this is just a different way of looking at it. Golden Star Resources, nice push here. Again, trying to break through these prior highs. We see that a lot, and most of them were about 6 weeks ago on the prior Fed meeting. So a little bit worth watching for. Equinox Gold, again, holding right in this $17 price range. Exelon Resources. So the point I wanted to make is the charts look good. They're setting up. They're trying to break out, and we want to watch this week to see if they follow through. If so, I think it could be another nice entry for some good profits heading into the fourth quarter. And wheat and precious metals here, this chart's been very, very strong, but want to see it finish this $70 level and keep climbing. First Majestic Silver, again, you see the same thing, the consolidation, trying to break out through this range. Maybe the Fed meeting will be able to push this all higher. B2 Gold Corp, we watched it in the US side. Anyway, it's ready to stoke its way up here, trying to climb out of the hole. Kinross Gold, this has been a nice name, 1 month highs, trying to push higher. TMAC Resources really tied up for a long time here, 5 or 6 months sideways, and got a nice thrust on Monday, Tuesday to get back above this Keltner channel, and we'd like to see that finish the rise up. Osisko Mining, this one's been sideways for 5 months now, with the exception of the prior Fed meeting, and then rolled over. Now we want to see if it can follow through again. Yamana Gold, looking right in here. Again, you see all these charts lined right up, so we're at a very tricky spot here. Want to see these get going. First Majestic Silver, this one's pulled back even more, down to $15 or $14 from the highs up around 19 or 20, and again a 20% pullback, so it wouldn't be bad to catch that moving to the upside. So hopefully that gives you an idea. Thanks for taking the time to join me on Market Buzz. Market Buzz airs Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. You can also see the recordings on StockCharts TV YouTube page. Don't forget to head over to GregSchnell.com. There's a tab over there for you to register for the webinar about the electric car. And hope to see you there. Lots to cover off. Good luck. Stay focused on this with the Fed meeting out there. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're going to bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.